Hello, this is Lisa for K107. We are visiting the S.W.A.C.S Ancient Cave Society today as part of their archaeological dig with exclusive access to a cave that is not been visited since 2004 by the time team. Very exciting. Let's see what happens. Now for a chat with Chris Henderson, who is the Secretary of S.W.A.C.S Ancient Caves Society.
Yep, I've been here since Friday, taking a break from my day job to do some exciting archaeology. Yeah, it's really interesting. One of the reasons why I joined S.W.A.C.S was my interest in ancient history, the Picts, and just local history as well. It's really exciting.
Okay. So what have you found the last few days?
I've been digging in a trench outside Court Cave, looking for ancient aardmarks, evidence of occupation, farming and things like that. So by the end of Saturday afternoon we'd kind of got to Victorian times, so a lot of bottles and pottery and things coming out. But I do know yesterday that they'd got down into another layer that had bones and charcoal coming out, which was evidence of proper, occupation and cooking and eating and things like that.
That must be quite exciting, because
it is. I mean, these layers haven't been touched for hundreds of years, so you're seeing these things for the first time in hundreds of years.
So if you could almost say that you're actually sitting in someone's living room from 100 years ago.
Maybe where they worked, possibly. They've definitely been there, and that's the thing. I mean, even just shards of pottery and little marbles out of beer bottles from Victorian times, so what put the sort of fizz in their beer and things like that. So that sort of thing, it's been in there for for a good 100 years. So.
And am I right in saying that the Court Cave has a very interesting history? Because there used to be actual court sessions held there.
The Court Cave has been a centre of communities coming together for thousands of years. So so medieval times, barons used to hold their courts there, which is why they called it that. But it is just a place for everybody in the community to come together, to join, to hold court, to God knows what else. I mean, that's used for community gatherings even now. Young people still gather there.
I think sometimes
so
you could.
It's been a heart of socialising for thousands of years.
So in many ways, you could say that what your group is doing here, you're almost recreating this community by exploring what's around you.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to find out what they did there. We do know that they treated fishing nets. There's so many uses for that cave. It's a huge, massive open space that's just been used for so many things over the years.
And you've got a big, huge smile on your face when you're talking about it.
Yeah, I get really excited about it. Which is good. It's good to have a passion, because what we're doing here, it's been such an exciting year to be part of S.W.A.C.S, because we've got our new museum, we've had our dig, and it's just going to go on from there.
Thank you very much, Chris.
No problem.
Thank you. This is Lisa from K107, and welcome to our. So we're just about to enter the sliding cave, which you enter literally by sliding into it. So let's see how that goes. We are now in the sliding cave, and we're about to receive a talk from Dr. Gordon Noble, Director of the Northern Picts Project from the University of Aberdeen.
A couple of nice symbols in here. If you want to gather around, you'll have to get friendly. A really nice double disc here.
I've seen it.
One circle drawing here. So it's kind of one of the most common Pictish symbols you find. So that's a nice one. And I'll show you the other symbol in a minute. But our first trench in here was just under your feet over here, Diane. And this was the Time Team's trench from 2004. So they opened this trench about 2 metres by 1.5 down this wall face, and you won't see them anymore, but there are 2 new symbols revealed during that, which were 2 serpents, which just very, very simple U shapes. We've got some nice photographs of that. so we can send to you, Mike.
Yeah,
And they went down about a metre through modern deposits, and then some sort of collapse or storm event, and then that was lying directly upon an occupation surface, and they got a date of 240 to 400 AD, so 3rd to 4th century AD. So that's really nice. It was, thought to be too early for the carvings, but increasingly we're beginning to wonder whether that is actually the date of these relatively simple carvings that you find in the caves. And that's based on some of our work up in Aberdeenshire, where we have very similar symbols coming from a promontory fort at Dunacair, from a rampart wall that seems to date to the 3rd, 4th centuries as well. So it's potentially exciting to have, occupation horizons. Well, it's exciting anyway. That may well help us understand the symbols more and tell us a bit more about the occupation of this cave, which seems to be, the deposits are intact compared to some of the other caves, or many of the other caves. So we reopened Time Team's trench. Again, we went down a metre, found the base of their trench, and we extended slightly beyond, and we found the same occupation horizon, about 2-3 inches thick, full of animal bone that looks like cattle and pig bone, but we'll get that analysed, and full of charcoal as well. So we've got lots of nice material for getting more dates. Is that layer entirely 3rd, 4th century, or is there earlier horizons? Is there later material? That's what we're trying to establish, really. And so that horizon was lying on what Time Team interpreted as paving. We don't think it's paving. It was just an earlier, either cave collapse or storm event. So we couldn't go much slower than that because of such big boulders. So that was that trench. And then our second trench, we're over here. Now watch your feet. There's lots of stones, and there's a big hole to fall down as well, which I wouldn't recommend. Probably maybe staying better this end. Let me show you this section here. So maybe just gather round over here. Sorry, I should have told you that before you wandered over there. So this is our second trench, next to the other cracking symbol in the cave here, which is this rectangular symbol here, which could be a shield. Some people say it's a mirror case. You do get these rectangular symbols again on Pictish standing stones. They're a bit more unusual than the double disc you see there. There's also, I think, one of the other caves has got a rectangular symbol. Is that right, Mike?
Court cave. Jonathan's certainly got rectangles, yeah.
Yeah, and you also get a rectangular symbol at Cowsley Caves as well. So we opened a trench here again, undisturbed, unlike where Time Team had been digging. But we basically got the same layers that they did, slightly shallower because you're farther away from the kind of erosion vents at the cave entrance. So this is probably the best section to see what's going on. So you got a modern deposit from about here up to there, which is this kind of homogeneous clay deposit, occasional bits of charcoal in that, but also kind of modern pottery and bits of plastic and all sorts. So that's the kind of disturbed layer, and that lies directly on top of these lenses. Can you see these lenses?
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of natural silting and flood events coming into the cave, and we actually had those layers over the top of the Time Team trench, so you can see that those quite rapidly form through collapse and flooding from the cave and natural kind of silting And then this lay on top of this really kind of homogeneous clay layer with this huge boulders in it. And there's a bit of debate about what this is. Is this some massive storm coming in? Is it roof collapse? It's certainly a natural deposit either way. And again, that sits directly on top of this occupation horizon, which is just the last 3 or 4 centimetres of this. You see the nice dark material there? And it's full of shell as well. You can see the shell in the corner here. And again, bits of bone, and it seems to be the same layer as we found over there. But this time it's actually sitting on the bedrock. So this looks like boulders, but it's actually all concreted together. So this is either the cave floor or a later kind of concretion of some of the kind of earlier surface of the cave. And so that occupation horizon is sitting directly on top of that. And we took out half of that occupation horizon and we left this bit in situ. So if you look closely again, you can see all the black material, charcoal and stuff in here, bits of bone and shell. So we got enough for our samples from here, and again we'll get some dates. And we took a little micromorphology tin from here, and so what they'll do in the labs there is look at how that layer has been formed. You know, both the occupation horizon, is there actually lots of mini horizons within that? And how is this clay forming? Is it a natural deposit or is it some sort of deliberate kind of sealing? So the great news really is that this cave again seems pretty intact in terms of deposits. Be nice in the future to test towards the end of the cave. Does that horizon go all the way through there, or is there a difference between how they're using the cave in the front, and the symbols are only in the front of the cave, as to how they're using or not using the back of the cave? And also, are there earlier horizons, certainly not here, but elsewhere, that are sealed below some of these natural layers? You'd need a bigger trench because some of these boulders are just impossible to get out.
So if you were standing on that occupation horizon, these carvings would just be the right level for a bit of...
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it?
Not, you wouldn't have to lie on your stomach.
That's the level. So,
yeah.
So if you believe me that these are potentially of late Roman date of 3rd or 4th centuries, then that makes an awful lot of sense. In terms of
Can I ask, was it very damp down there?
No, not really. No, it's absolutely. It's like concrete. Some of the clay.
Right.
It's very hard to get out.
Yes.
I'm slightly broken today.
What's the earliest you think that these caves have been used?
Well, we don't
don't
really
know.
know. I mean, there's Iron Age dates from outside some of the caves.
Yes, well that's what I think. They must have been used for years, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they were. Well, it depends when they were exposed.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
But
About 6,000 BC.
There's a handfast here.
yeah,
There's all sorts of stuff. There's
loads of
niches at the
handbags.
front as well.
Yeah.
One just from above your head.
So the caves are what? About 8,000 years old.
So there is.
Yeah,
You can imagine hunter-gatherers using them,
absolutely.
coming down to the shore. There's no
Because
evidence
the
for that.
sea would be further down.
There's loads further away,
Further down,
much further out.
isn't it?
Yeah, and
They
they've
would
just
tie
been used
for the
for whatever
leather
people have
thong
wanted
as
to
we
use.
threw it and
whatever
tie it.
is.
I mean, that's an interesting concept because the sea was able to carve these caves out 8,000 years ago, but then the sea level must have receded quite substantially and quite quickly to allow for the...
No, it's coming back.
Ice Age uplift.
Now it's going back again.
And the uplift after the Ice Age,
Yeah. I mean, effectively up on top, there's raised beaches, isn't there, above us, all the way around.
That's what we're probably digging on the front.
I suspect so, yeah, it could be.
A level of beach which shows you how high the
Wow.
water level was. That
Yeah.
it was actually above the
Another
level
handfast.
above the castle.
Yeah,
And then as it came down, the caves got scoured out.
yeah. There's a
And
whole
people could get in them.
there's a whole series of like terraces above the coast edge that show how the seas.
You can see it a bit on the outside of the promontory. Anyway.
Yeah, because the caves along at West Wemyss are at a higher level
Yeah,
than the caves here.
yeah. So they were formed at a different period. Yeah. Yeah.